What if I told you there's a massive wildlife preserve hiding right in the middle of Central Florida? A place where you can see over 200 species of birds, spot wild alligators, walk beneath ancient oaks draped in Spanish moss, and explore a full indoor nature center. And what if I told you this place was free? Yes, completely free. They don't even charge for parking. Most people drive right past it without even realizing it's there. Most people have never even heard of this place, but it's one of those places that the locals here treasure. It sits on the northwest shore of Lake Hancock, right between Tampa and Orlando, close enough for a day trip from either, but far enough to feel like you vanished into old Florida. This land was once a cattle ranch, but in the early 2000s it was bought and restored to its natural state, transforming it back into one of Central Florida's most beautiful and important wildlife habitats. This is Circle B Bar Reserve in Lakeland, one of Florida's most incredible hidden gems. To me, this isn't just another park, this is one of the nicest, most underrated outdoor spots in the entire state. And before we go exploring the park, let's first stop into the Discovery Center, because it's right near the main parking lot and it's probably where most people will start their visit here. And walking in here, this place does give a great first impression. While a lot of county and even state parks have visitor centers that feel a bit dated or worn, this one immediately made me feel as if I was in a really cool, special place. You can tell how much pride the park takes in itself the moment you walk into the visitor center. And it's surprisingly polished, modern, well-lit, clean, and full of interactive exhibits about local ecosystems, bird migration, and Florida wildlife. It felt like something you'd find at a really nice nature museum. There's a massive artificial tree right in the middle that you can actually climb, and a large aquarium display showing how different species of fish survive in clean versus polluted water. But the only problem that I noticed, in the supposed clean tank, there was at least one fish that was very much not surviving. But besides that little moment of irony, this place really is impressive. Most park visitor centers feel like an afterthought. A few sun-faded posters and a taxidermized raccoon from like 1987, but this one felt like a proper attraction, the kind of place you could bring family or out-of-state guests and they'd think, okay, yeah, cool, this place is pretty cool. But once you step outside the visitor center, the real adventure begins. This park has about 8 miles of trails that wind through a mix of different native Florida ecosystems, oak hammocks, marshland, and swampy forests. The kind of landscapes you only find when Florida lets its hair down and you get away from the cities and even the small towns and get into the real heart of the state. Out here, it's pretty easy to imagine that most of the state once looked like this. Some of the live oaks out here are ancient, easily a few centuries old, if not older. Their branches twist under the weight of Spanish moss, the sunlight peeking through them just right. The whole scene out here is just surreal. I had to keep on stopping every few feet or so to take more pictures. There really is beauty in every direction out here. And as I was out here exploring, I was thinking to myself, this just might be the prettiest park in Florida. Maybe it is. And of all the hiking trails out here, the most well-known has the provocative name Alligator Alley. Yep, just like that stretch of highway that cuts through the Florida Everglades between Naples and West Palm Beach. It's a narrow path with Lake Hancock on one side and open wetlands on the other. A literal gator corridor. And you get to walk right down the middle of it. Now I'm told that on a good day, especially in spring or early summer, you can see dozens of them, maybe even more, just lounging in the sun, floating in the water, floating offshore, sometimes even right there on the path. There are signs warning you about that possibility too. So when I started down this path, I was excited to see them and hoped to see lots and lots of gators up close. This trail does have a reputation to uphold after all. But then, after a little while, not much gator action if I'm being honest. I walked down this trail for about a half a mile along the water with Lake Hancock on one side and the park's wetlands right here on the other. Everything about this area told me that this was prime gator spotting territory. But on this breezy mid-October day in Central Florida, nothing, not a single gator, at least not yet. I did take that time to look at all the different birds that I spotted along the trail and went out on this observation platform to look out onto the water, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, but no gators. Still gorgeous. Now, I was a bit disappointed because this trail was called Alligator Alley after all. I mean, come on.
Now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right?
But it's also fall, and this is the time of the year when they start to get a little bit less active. And I also wondered if the weather had something to do with it. It was a really windy day today, and there was even a little bit of a chop on the lake. Maybe the gators just don't like that. But then finally, hey, I spotted one. Just a little baby, maybe even less than a year old, but at least I knew there were gators out here to see. And then finally, another one, and a couple more. Maybe I was just getting better at spotting them out here. They are masters at blending into the swamp after all. But here you go. Now it's your turn. This is an easy one. Can you spot him? There he is. Or maybe it's a she. Now how about a harder one? Do you see it? Yeah, I couldn't believe I spotted that one either, but once you see one, you do start to see them everywhere. And by the end of this 2-mile hike out and back along Alligator Alley, I spotted about 6 or 7. Not too bad for an off-season day. But even if you don't spot gators, Circle B Bar Reserve is a dream for wildlife lovers. It's one of the top sites on the Great Florida Birding Trail, and with more than 200 recorded species, it's a paradise for bird watchers. So if that sounds like you, don't forget your binoculars. Out here I saw herons, egrets, anahingas drying their wings, and even a pileated woodpecker hammering away at a pine. That's him right there. This is one of those rare places where you can see real Florida wildlife without paying zoo admission or hopping on an airboat. And hey, did I mention, this place is all free. Now the hiking trails here are pretty easy, mostly flat dirt and gravel with a few boardwalks crossing some of the wet spots. If you want a great route, combine Heron Hideout, Shady Oak, and Alligator Alley into a 2-mile loop that hits all the main highlights out there. It's Florida, so you might want to go early. Mornings are going to be cooler, of course, and the animals are a bit more active. Bring binoculars or a zoom lens, and don't wander off the trail. This isn't a petting zoo, and the locals bite. No pets are allowed, and as always, don't feed the gators. Oh, and don't forget the bug spray. That's important. And by the time I looped back to the parking area, I realized what makes this place so special. It's not a manicured attraction or a theme park experience, but it is very nice and very well maintained. But it's a snapshot of old Florida, wild, quiet, and still roaming free. If you're coming from Tampa or the west side of Orlando, it's a pretty easy day trip. From the east side of Orlando, maybe pack a podcast or two. I don't need to tell you how unforgiving I-4 can be. But once you're out here, you will see why locals love it, and I think you'll call this a hidden gem too. It's the kind of place that reminds you of Florida's wild side, that it's still alive and well. You just have to know where to look. And as always, thanks for watching and coming along with me on this little trip around one of Florida's truly hidden gems. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that subscribe button so you can come along with me for more. Every week we explore wild, weird, and wonderful corners of the Sunshine State, from the theme parks to the state parks. Until the next time, please stay safe out there, and I will see you around the Sunshine State.